This is part 2 of the Great Deception. This people has a disobedient and rebellious heart. They have turned aside and gone back. For among my people were found wicked men, and they have set snares to destroy men, and they have caught them, and the dragon deceived the whole world. Okay, I showed you the world. It's a deception. Everything in the world is a lie. Everything that is not of him, it's a lie. Now you saw the seed war, and some people have recognized that to a certain extent. But guess what? It goes deeper than that. It's like watching a skilled magician. The magician will show you something that's in his hand, right in front of you, and everybody's looking at his hand. What's he holding in his hand? What's he doing? But no one is watching the other hand, the hand behind his back, to see what he's really doing. The sleight of hand, that deception for the trick to work, is happening in the hand that he's not showing you. What Hasatan, the devil, the magician, the deceiver of this age, what he is doing is he's holding out one of his hands in front of the whole world, and in that hand is the seed war. And most people think that they understand the Great Deception when they see some bad things in the world and they see the seed war deception, the deception of the shots, and they think they understand the Great Deception. Here's the problem. Hasatan knew that some people in these times, they would figure some of it out. So the deceiver is holding the evil things of this world and even the seed war right out there in his hand in front of us, saying, okay, maybe you see this deception right here in front of you. Just keep watching this. Keep watching these events. There's multiple tricks, multiple snares. It's what he's hiding behind his back. The Great Deception is a spider's web. Each single deception is just a single strand of a spider's web, the Great Deception, of which people can get stuck in. And a fly is going to thrash around when it hits a spider's web and try to get away. It might just get stuck on one strand or two. But when the fly tries to get loose from that first strand, by the time he's moved around so much, the fly is now stuck in 2 or 3 or 4 other ones, and the fly is trapped for good. In that same way, the Great Deception has multiple snares to entrap the peoples of this earth. And that is what Hasatan has set up. And almost no one will see all the snares. And those that get trapped are swept off the way, one of those exit signs, and may not even know it until Judgment Day. And then at the great white throne will be weeping and gnashing of teeth because they were deceived. So let's look deeper. The Great Deception is not just physical. The hidden deceptions, the hardest to see, is what is in his other hand. It's the hand behind his back. It's just like reading the instructions in Deuteronomy and thinking that they're only commandments of a physical nature. The fullness or the depth of the law, as Messiah showed us, it's spiritual. Likewise, the deeper, more hidden snares of the Great Deception are also spiritual in nature. From Proverbs 29, a great snare is spread for a sinner. And part of Messiah's end-time warning in Matthew 24. There will be exceedingly great distress, which has not happened from the beginning of the world and even unto the end. And many liars, including false prophets, shall stand up and do an abundance of wonders until the very elect ones, the chosen ones of Yah, almost go into error if it was possible, because the deception is so vast, so overwhelming in nature, so much a part of everybody's life even. He says, I tell you this before the time. He has warned us. Be on guard. Because as Paul says, the mystery of iniquity is already at work, even in his time. Thus, the mystery of iniquity is at work right now. Iniquity is lawlessness, the liars rising up that Messiah warned us of. The liars are weaving this mystery of iniquity, the mystery of lawlessness, and that with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, the love of the Father and his truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause Yah shall send them strong delusion, a great deception, that they should believe a lie. And many will, that they all might be sent to the lake of fire, who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. What is the truth? It says people that did not receive the love of the truth will get trapped. The truth, as David said in Psalm 119, is, Yahweh, your law is truth. Your word is truth. And even more bluntly, as Messiah, the great I Am says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He is the living truth, the living word, and those who reject his words and his way are the ones that get taken by the strong delusion, the mystery of iniquity that was at work way back then and is now in overdrive. We saw that before when we were looking at the world, the snare that is in the earth and even by the way. But guess what? There's more. The snare is almost everywhere. From Isaiah 42, hear you deaf and look up, you blind to see. And who is blind but my servants, and deaf but they that rule over them? Yes, the servants of Yah have been made to be blinded, and the rulers are deafened. They don't hear the truth. The servants of Yah have been made blind by a strong delusion that was sent to test those that he called. The people were spoiled and plundered by these deceptions. There is a snare in the secret chambers everywhere, and in the houses also where they've hidden them. Hearken, everyone, see these things which are coming to pass. They would not walk in his ways, nor hearken, Shema, hear and obey his word, his instructions. They would not walk in his ways, so he brought upon them the fury of his wrath and the war, and those that burnt round about them prevailed against them. The children of disobedience, those that burnt round about them. The great merchants, they prevailed against them, yet no one of them knew it, neither did they lay it to heart. Isaiah 42. Those that will prevail against his very servants are the children of disobedience. Yes, and that includes the great merchants in these times, but there are others too that are hidden. Yet none of the blind servants knew it, and neither did they lay these words of truth to heart, these prophecies, these warnings. They did not hearken, they did not open their eyes, they trusted in their vanities. They did not seek his truth in these times. They listened to false prophets and false teachers, did not hear his words, they did not believe what he said. It's the time of the great deception right now, and the snares are in the secret chambers. Well, what is the secret chamber? That's pretty important to understand.
The answer is in Proverbs 20.
The spirit of man is a light of Yahweh, who searches the inmost parts of the belly. And the Greek word for inmost parts, G5009, is the same word as secret chambers in Isaiah 42. What's the inmost part of a man? The heart. The snare, the secret chamber, is even in our hearts. It says everywhere. Everyone has a snare even in their heart. What is that snare? It is certainly not the set-apart spirit. We know that he is pure and he is righteous. The snare of our hearts is our very flesh. Remember that Paul said that we are at enmity with our flesh. We're trying to walk in the Spirit. We are in conflict with the flesh right now, the lust of the flesh. That snare is also our memories of our past life. Try as we might, we just can't forget some of the things in our past, some of the things that we've done that we are ashamed of now. We just can't delete all of our old memories and sinful moments, and those thoughts ignite the flesh to sinful lusts. And that's the snare in our flesh. That's the snare in the secret chambers everywhere. We are called to crucify the flesh. We are called by him to his righteous path. And your memories in your flesh is fighting against the Spirit, fighting against your walk on his narrow path. Pray for the Spirit to strengthen you so that you may crucify your flesh daily. But that's not all the snares. There's more. There is even more. From Jude, it was needful for me to write unto you and exhort you so that you should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered to the saints. The truth that was once delivered. And now that faith was already being corrupted when Jude wrote his letter. Because, as Paul said, the mystery of iniquity was already at work, and Jude is the second witness to that right there. Thus says Yah to everyone, ask for the ancient path. Where is the good way, and walk there on the ancient and good path. Yahushua Messiah is the way, the good way, the narrow and straight path, and the door. And there you will find rest for your souls. Messiah walked that same good and ancient path, and he told us to follow him. He said, follow me. Do as he does. He honored his Father. We are to honor our Father too. You will have salvation for your souls when you walk on the good and the straight and the narrow way, the ancient path. But I fear, lest by any means, as the serpent tricked Eve through his craftiness, he deceived Eve with a lie. So watch out, so that your minds are not likewise corrupted from the simplicity that is in Messiah. His gospel message is simple. His yoke is light. But the religion of the world twists and corrupts and burdens. Did you know that there's more than 200 different denominations in America? And except for, say, the Catholic Church, the head of each denomination is focused in the country that it's in. So with 200 different countries and 200 different denominations, there are now over 40,000 different types of denominations. Similar, but different, because when they're headed by different people, the doctrines don't stay the same. You heard that right. Over 40,000 different doctrines that are being preached. And each one of them thinks they're correct. What did he say? He said that there is only one way, and many don't find that one way. And from 2 Corinthians 11, for if he comes preaching another Jesus whom we have not preached, or if you receive another spirit, which you have not received before, or another gospel which we have not spoken to you, then you might bear well with him. Meaning, you might receive the same judgment that the one that taught you the deception receives. And those false teachers and false prophets are going to be judged with vengeance when they have led their flocks astray and have not visited them with the truth. This is Jeremiah 23 verses 1 and 2 happening right now. But if you follow along with that false teacher, that false prophet, that liar, Messiah's warning, you are now the blind being led by the blind, and both that blind teacher and you, the blind follower, you will both fall into the ditch. And that ditch is an exit that has been set up off of the narrow path by the deceiver of the world to take you to destruction. And the serpent first deceived Eve, and that deception was another gospel. The serpent deceived Eve with another gospel. We are now looking at these additional strands to the spider web of deception. And what Paul just said, there's another gospel, another spirit, and there's another Jesus. So let's look more at the spider's web. Has the hand of Yahweh no power to save? Well, of course he does. Or has he made his ear heavy so that he shall not hear? Of course not. He will always hear the righteous. But your iniquities, your lawlessness separates you from the Most High. You separate yourself from the Most High, from the Creator of the heavens of the universe, because you are deaf and you are not hearing him. And because of your sins and your blindness to his word and his truth, he has turned away his face from you so as to not have mercy upon you. And everyone, we all desperately need his mercy. For your hands are defiled with blood, and your fingers with sin, and your lips have also spoken iniquity, lawlessness, lies, and your tongue meditates on unrighteousness. And our thoughts are not pure, and none speaks justly. Neither is there true judgment. They trust in vanities and speak empty words. They bring forth iniquity. They have hatched asp eggs and weave a spider's web. Their web shall not become a garment, nor shall they clothe themselves with their works, for their works are the works of lawlessness. The prophecy in Isaiah 59 warns us of the spider's web right there. The weaving of all of the lies and the deception that make up the mystery of iniquity, the strong delusion, the many traps to snare souls. The great deception. What are the asp's eggs that are being hatched? Let's look at that. It's a terrifying warning. There are different descriptions and titles for the adversary. Revelation 12 verse 9 says that there's a serpent called the devil and Hasatan. We know he's a serpent, and we know he's a devil. In John chapter 8, Messiah is rebuking the Pharisees. He said to them, "You are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father you will do." He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. When was the beginning? It was in the Garden of Eden when he spoke the first lie to Eve. He was a murderer from the beginning because Hasatan knew what would happen if he could deceive Eve. He was premeditating murder even then, and he did it with a lie. There is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Remember the seed war a few minutes ago. The seed of the woman is battling against the seed of the serpent. And what is the seed of the serpent we just saw right there? Messiah just told us. The prophet of prophets told us Hasatan is a liar and the father of lies. The seed of the serpent, lies. The children of the serpent, the seed of the serpent, the asp's eggs, lies. Lies and deception. As the serpent tricked Eve, deceived her through his subtlety, through his words that seemed right, but were really unrighteous lies. So now we can understand some more of the prophecy from Isaiah 59 verse 5. They have hatched asps' eggs and weave a spider's web. We've shown that the spider's web is the great deception, and every lie, every single deception associated with it is a single strand of that web. Now an asp is a very poisonous serpent. So the eggs of the poisonous serpent, the lies, and the people are going to eat of those eggs, those lies. And many are going to eat asp eggs. And when they crush them, when they break them open, they find an addled egg. The Greek word addled means that it did not hatch. It's spoiled. It's a rotten egg. So instead of an egg that holds life, it's dead. It's an egg that holds death. So when those that are going to eat of the asp's eggs, they are eating very rotten eggs of death, which is the seed of the serpent, which is lies. And when he gets ready to eat that egg, he also finds in it a basilisk. And what is a basilisk? Well, it's an ancient Greek legendary creature, one of their pagan mythologies. But even in some of those mythologies, there can be a seed of truth. What would that seed of truth be for a basilisk? Well, a basilisk is in the scriptures, and the word is truth. A basilisk is made up of two Greek words, which means king and little. So the word basilisk means the little king. The ancient description of a basilisk is a great serpent with a crown on top of its head like a dragon. And the basilisk kills men when they look at it in its eyes. So you have the king of the serpents that the men will see when they open up the rotten eggs of death of lies that come from the serpents. So the end result of those that eat the lies of the serpent, the ones that believe the lies, they come face to face with the king of the serpents, Hasatan himself, and they look him in the eyes, and their end is nigh. That is what Isaiah 59 verse 5 is telling you. That is a very sobering prophecy, a great warning, a prophecy that is warning us in these times right now. But as prophecy also says, most are blind. Most don't listen to his words. And the spiders. Somebody's got to be weaving the spider's web, right? For the fool shall speak foolish words. His heart shall meditate vanities and perform lawless deeds. And the fool will speak error against Yah, which will scatter hungry souls and cause a thirsty soul to be empty. Remember, Jeremiah 23 talks about the pastors or the shepherds that scatter his sheep. Well, here's the fools that scatter hungry souls. It's the same thing, the pastors, and cause a thirsty soul to be empty. For the counsel of the wicked will devise iniquity, lawlessness, deception, lies, to destroy the poor with unjust words, lawless words, and ruin the cause of the poor in judgment. The wicked will create the deceptions, the fools under them, the deaf, will speak the deceptions, and the people listening to the fools, the blind, will believe the deceptions, and they will love it so. This is prophecy right now in the way it's being fulfilled. For the counsel of the wicked leaders of religions, denominations, and their seminary schools, spiritual cemetery schools, will devise false doctrines, another gospel. That's what another gospel is, the false doctrines. The pastors and the priests in these spiritual cemetery schools, the seminary schools of their denominations, learn these false doctrines, these vanities, these lies, and they will speak them in error against Yahweh to their congregations, which are full of people, hungry and thirsty for his truth, but they are unwittingly trusting in the brainwashed pastors at the pulpit because he has a diploma from a seminary school. And thus the souls are scattered and empty. They are destroyed by the false doctrines, which is, as Paul said, another gospel, which ruins the ability of these poor souls in judgment unto salvation. That is another staggering prophecy, and again, part of the great deception. The wicked and the fools in Isaiah 32 are the same shepherds called out in Jeremiah 23. Woe to the pastors, woe to the shepherds that destroy and scatter the sheep of their flock, their pasture. Thus says Yahweh against them that tend my people, you've driven them out, scattered my sheep. You have not even visited them with the truth. I, says Yahweh, shall take vengeance upon you according to your evil practices. This is a word of warning to all of those that get up on a YouTube channel or get up in front of people and speak what they think the word of Yah says. And if they are wrong and they're leading people astray, they're causing people's souls to get scattered and lost, the Creator of the heavens and earth says, vengeance will be taken upon them. Be careful with what you speak. Know that it's the truth. The fear of Yah is the beginning of wisdom. Woe to the many priests and pastors that are not speaking the truth. Woe to the many social media and video channel owners that speak false doctrines and false prophecies and speak false visions of their own creations or other spirits that are speaking to them. Did you know that seminary schools don't test their young pastors and priests on how well they understand the scriptures? They don't. The graduates' diplomas, the pastors that stand in front of everybody, their diplomas are not earned because they understand the words directly from the Most High. Seminary schools pass or fail their students based on how well they have mastered and regurgitated the different commentaries that their denomination originators have devised and have created unique false doctrines. What a pastor's diploma is proof that he knows how to tell the lies that were devised by the wicked. They've gone through seminary schools and they're stuck in false doctrines, and they're not breaking out of them either through ignorance or they just want to keep the cash cow coming from their assembly. There is no excuse, though. Either you succumb to your own ignorance because you did not diligently seek his truth and just bought whatever they told you in seminary school, or you are a slave to the beast system, the religious systems of the world, and for the love of money, the root of all evil. Organized religion is spiritual death. It's controlled by the rulers of the darkness of this world. Organized religion is part of the great deception. It is part of Satan's plan. That's why so many have dropped out of churches, because they don't feel the Spirit anymore. Because the time of Satan has come, and it's time to use organized religion to deceive many and take them off the narrow path and exit off that narrow path unto destruction. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Messiah's words. Guess what? His prophecy is being fulfilled right now in this world. For the priest and the prophet are defiled. Therefore, says Yah, I will feed them with pain and give them bitter water to drink. For from the prophets has defilement gone forth into all of the land, not some of the land, not part of it, all of the land. The great deception at work. Hearken not to the words of the prophets, for they frame vain visions for themselves. They speak from their own heart. They are not hearing from Yahweh or from the set-apart Spirit. And there are many, many false prophets right now, and many, many false speakers of visions. There is a tsunami wave of false prophecy that's surging through the multitudes of online media channels right now. But people seek these out instead of going straight to His Word that everybody has at their house. It's all available. His words are there, but people go listen to their favorite guy on YouTube that dances around and says something funny, and they get deceived. And again, from Yahushua HaMashiach, beware of these false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing. They look like they're of the flock, but inwardly, they're spiritual ravenous wolves. And sometimes you make them rich also, while they are secretly destroying you. You will know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes from thorn bushes, figs from thistles? No. Every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree, it's only bad. By their fruits you will know them. And what is the fruit of a prophet? Whether or not their prophecy is of righteousness, and if it comes to pass. That's the false prophet test of Deuteronomy 18. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into the lake of fire. Messiah sternly warns us about false prophets, but most don't really listen to him. Most don't listen to the one they say is their Savior. As he said, your lips speak of me, but your hearts are far from me. Listen to him. Hear his words. Heed his words only. Behold, says Yah, the days come and are now here today that I will send forth a famine on the land. It's not a famine of bread or water. There is some places in the world that there is a famine of bread and water, of course, and it's growing, and it's a plague. But right now there is a worldwide famine of hearing the true word of Yahweh. And the waters shall be troubled from sea to sea, and from north to east. All of the world, all the people shall be troubled, and all over the world shall men run to and fro, here and there, going from one YouTube channel to another, seeking the word of Yah, and they shall not find it. They shall not find it. So people are going all over the place seeking the true word, and the beast has clamped down on the system, and they can't find the true word of Yah anymore. They go channel surfing. All of their suggested sites that they put up for people, going to be false almost all the time. They get on Facebook and who knows what else, and it's false. Mainstream, cable channels, it doesn't matter. The speakers of the truth get marginalized, hidden, shadow banned, because the beast system puts its thumb down against the truth. I hope that everyone realizes that the beast system controls all of the search algorithms and suggestions they put in front of you. This is sad, but it's the truth. In that day, the young woman and the men will faint for thirst, and they shall fall, and they shall no more rise again. They shall no more rise again. This is the time of the end. All of these things must be fulfilled. All of these things must come to pass before his coming. And most of the prophecy in both the Old Testament and the New Testament is pointing to these very days. All of the prophets and the law itself, they're all telling us to wake up. Wake up now, because now is the time of the greatest deception that has ever been. And all of the mechanizations of the world are already propagating the great deception to brainwash, convince, and browbeat the world until everyone is deceived and destroyed. The great deception. It has already covered the whole world. It was already in the world and covering the world even before you were born. It's all you've ever known. And it's worse than you could have ever imagined or realized. And only through the mercy and the glory of Yah are we being shown this before it's too late. This is only part 2 of the great deception. And sadly, there is even more. For those who will wake up and hear the truth. Wake up before it's too late. Time is running out.